Okay, podcast people, welcome. Math out today. If you're making marks up on the radical test or anything else under 70, remember you have one redo at the end of the year. Your practice mock exam will replace your lowest test mark. And there's a midterm on Thursday, so 2 more days, and then we have 3 more units: functions, linear relations, and solving systems. The last 2 are more algebraic, and you will love them. And then summertime, which you will love even more. So, the sheet we're going to hand out to you, challenge for 10 kilometers in 10 days. Please do that. You need to stay active. You need to get off. Forget the computer mouse, forget the cell phones, or take a cell phone walk on a walk with you or something. I wouldn't, but I don't listen to music when I run. I just pray, basically. Pray for others, or for my family, or myself, or just think of things about life, which is good to have. Time for peace in your life, something, no noise. You should always have some part of no noise in your life, every day, every night. But you see these people walking, running around, I call them crazy. They're running, and when it's minus 15 degrees outside, what are you doing that for? But please do something, okay? And it doesn't take long for you to become one of those people. It's just about habit. It's just about walking a lap around the block, and then next time walking 2 laps around the block. And pretty soon you're walking for 10 laps, and then you jog. And now you're jogging 30 minutes, where you've never seen yourself jog ever. It's all about habit, and it feels so good to do that. You don't have to be a runner or an athlete. You don't have to be breaking any records, but it's good to sweat. It's really good for your mental health. Some of you have no problem like me. I was born with it. I ran around the hospital when I was born. I couldn't catch me. I love sports. But what was it, on Saturday? We did biked into the hills, and we did some hills, me and the kids. No, we went to the track, sorry. My foot started hurting, so I had to quit. I know, I'm an old man. Sunday, we went to the gym. Yesterday, I went for a bike ride. It's just something to do. I probably didn't want to do any of them, but you do it anyway because it's good for your heart and it's good for your mental well-being, and it's just so much better than screen time. And screen time is just gonna kill people. It does kill people. You don't do anything except for eat junk. There's no calorie burning at all. So please just get outside. You got to change your lifestyle. If you're not doing that enough, you need to start doing that. Okay, it doesn't take long. You still have 23 hours a day if you go just for an hour in the summertime. But please be active. That is the most important thing. That's why I love these sheets. Hopefully they get some of you started. Go take your dog for a walk or a run or play the frisbee and get a sweat on. That's always good to do fun exercise. So when I say jog, that might not be for you. That was never for me. I couldn't stand jogging. I only did it to raise money for charity when my one friend was diagnosed with MS. That's the only reason I started jogging at all. But of course, I played sports, so there was definitely jogging in football and soccer. And you want to get better at any sport, you just need to get faster. There's not one sport that you're not going to get better if you get faster and stronger and more endurance. All right, I don't know what's got to do with math, but that's got to do with life, which is more important than math. What did I just say? I shouldn't have said that. Okay, I'm going to go look through the trig test, and we're going to do it this first half of this review, midterm review. Your midterm is on Thursday. I'm just going to take questions right from the trig test, except for I'm going to change them, okay? So these are questions that were on the trig test that are barely changed. Podcast people, I'm going to eventually write them down for you, but it's going to be way quicker for us in class to do them on the whiteboard. So bear with me. You can pause now, and I'll unpause and write the questions for you soon. Okay, people number 1. Okay, these are trig test questions right from the trig test. My friends, we already corrected half of them. You're not going to be able to correct them on this podcast, but I will attach Andrew, highest average in the world notes on Google Class, so you'll see the answers there. But please don't write down the answers until you do these podcast, people. This is helping you study for your midterm. Okay, so do these questions. Class people, you're working on D, E, F, G right now. That's 35, 67. There you go. This one is more than one triangle section, you guys, on the podcast. Whoa, that was some Usain Bolt. I just want to make it so I can fit one more triangle in there. That's 60x 13.2, and G is your x 20.2 and 14.2 for that side. You're going to use the formulas Sakatoa. And if you get stuck, it's probably a Pythagorean theorem question. So make sure you look at the formula sheet if you get stuck. Which will be provided to you. Alright, podcast people, pause until you're done those, and then you can look up the answers. Although I would just look up the answers at the end. I would do all these questions first. Otherwise, you're going to see some of the answers before you get the question. So I want you to do all these questions and then correct them at the end when I post them on Google Class. Pause. Tell the podcast people to do these next questions. And we just did. Okay, H. Podcast people, they're just picking up the review assignments. Review assignment number 1 is due tomorrow. Work marks on your midterm. Review assignment number 2 is due on Thursday. I'll check it right before I write the midterm. You obviously aren't here to get the handouts, so I will post it on Google Class as soon as I can. Next is numerical response 1. You guys, just 3 pages. Please just pick up 3 pages. You should have review assignment 1 and review assignment 2 and the exercise sheet. Okay, numerical response 1. Find the biggest angle? To nearest 10. You may. Okay, podcast people, just pause this until you write it down, and then unpause to go to the next one. Okay, again, pause if you're going to lose in response 1 and 2. I'm going to just bump up a little bit. I'm going to rewind, and I got one more for you. And we've done trig, angle of depression of an eagle. Caw, caw, caw. To 20-pound height. Meow. Is 34 degrees. Eagle flies, Eddie the eagle flies 25 meters. Caw, caw. To catch fish. How high was the eagle? Don't forget to write the answer sentences when I give you a word problem. Don't lose that silly half mark. Okay, podcast people, pause. And factoring is coming. Okay, back at factoring, we're just going to review because we got about 12 minutes. Okay, so I think it's just time for me to remind you how to factor and how to superfoil. So everyone get there. You guys have that review assignment 1 due tomorrow. First thing, I check it, give you marks on your midterm, and then you ask me any questions that you had on any of them. Okay, we'll correct whichever ones we got stuck with, and then we'll move on to looking at the factoring test and the radical test tomorrow. Okay, but this is factoring. I will do it on the smart board. I'm not going to have enough time to do it both. So factoring, first of all, is to simplify. We did this one, so go ahead and do it right now, everyone. We did yesterday. Go ahead and foil that. And then I'll see if you can remember how to flaw this. Reminder, FL today. First half lunch. 2x times 3x is 6x squared. 2x times 7. Negative 2 times 3. Again, you can just come to Math Help and work on your review assignment. So you get marks if you can, plus you get to do your homework as well. And ask me any questions that you don't understand. Pretty sweet deal, as long as you give me your dessert. Desserts, I should have said. Flaw, how many arrows for flaw, you guys? When can you flaw? Yep. Good. Exact same binomial with different signs, because the middle terms will cancel. Your 15x subtract 15x will become 0. So that's 25x squared, subtract 9, finito. Another type of question is if you have something like this. I'm only going to simplify it. Factor 2. This one, you can FOIL these first if you want to, or you can distribute this to the first bracket. Just the first bracket, or you will get 0 marks. So go ahead and finish up using FOIL. And then I'm going to remind you how to do this, something like this, in case it's on your homework. This is a rewrite and FOIL question. We've never had a rewrite and FOIL question. It's always rewrite and FOIL. You do not get x squared plus 49 as the answer. If you give me x squared plus 49, you're going to lose 75% of your marks. You have to collect the middle terms as well. Okay, I think I'm going to leave this because you know how to FOIL, and I want to get to factoring. So there's still other ones, but that's good enough for today in 12 minutes. Factoring means create brackets. There's the GCF factoring. Where you take the GCF out, but you start with the smallest number. So you take a 3 out, and then the lowest exponent of x and the lowest exponent of y. And then if you take the whole thing out, you have to put a 1 there. And now it's up to you if you want to go 3 times what equals negative 18, or divide all of this by 3x cubed y to the 4th. However you want to do it, you can, but you should get subtract exponents. That should be your answer. Now, some of you take a GCF like this and then try to do something else. Probably not. When you take an x cubed and y to the 4th out, you're usually done. But if you take a 5 out, then that's usually when you have something else. Write this down, please, everyone. Thank you. Sum product is when you have something that starts with x squared, and the product is the last number, and the sum is the middle number. Okay, so here you need two numbers that multiply, and the product is negative 42, and here the sum is negative 1. Two numbers that multiply to negative 42 and add to negative 1 are negative 7 and 6. And when it's a sum product question, you love it because you just put negative 7 and 6 in the brackets. When it starts with x squared, do not decomp. When it starts with x squared, do not decomp. No decomp. Ah. Triple backflip. C. What did I do last time? Red or green? Let's do red. We'll do one decomp and one difference of squares, which you have already done yesterday. Let's go 5x squared, subtract 4, subtract 8x. Okay, so this one, can you take a 5 out? Can you take a 4 out? No, there's no GCF. So that's when it's decomp. Decomp, the product is no longer negative 4, it's 5 times negative 4. So the product is negative 20. The sum, you have tons of notes on these, is negative 8. Write down, write down, write down. The two numbers are negative 10 and 2. But unlike sum product, you don't just put those in the brackets. You have to decompose the middle term because negative 8 equals negative 10 plus 2. So negative 10x plus 2x. And now you slice and dice. You take the GCF of these first two terms, and you take the GCF of these last two terms. You don't have to do it this quickly. I'm just reminding you how to do it. So on your test, or sorry, your review assignment, you know how to do it. If you do everything perfecto, you can take the common binomial. Everyone write this down, please. Thank you. Bear with me, you got another 3 minutes. And if you check that using FOIL, you get what you started with, 5x squared. 2 subtract 10 is negative 8. -4. Let's do, we did a difference of squares, but we didn't do one of these yesterday. Now this is the question where students get 0 the most on, because if you don't take a GCF out first, you can't do it. So this is a GCF difference of squares question. The first thing you do is take a GCF out, and then I'll let you finish it before I do. Then you square root, one addition, one subtraction. So a little 12-minute taste of factoring. And again, you got factoring, RADS, and trig on each review assignment, which is what your midterm is on. First thing we did was trig. Second thing we did was factoring. Third thing, last test we just had with RADS. Trig and measurement. Okay, so x plus 5 times x subtract 5, or vice versa. Homework is review assignment number 1, not all of them, just review assignment number 1. Review assignment number 2 is not due until Thursday morning or afternoon, depending on what period you're in. That's an awesome day!